Hello and welcome to another edition of the EXCELerate Skype video interview series titled Business Failure Confessions from the Masters. And this is in honor of and in support of the upcoming EXCELerate 2015 conference in Vancouver on September 30th to October the 2nd. And we have here today our wonderful guest, Vanessa Shaw. She is an international business and success coach, wealth mentor, and inspirational speaker. She's going to be speaking. In fact, I just selected your breakout because they're asking us to pre-select breakouts. So I guess they, yeah, because I missed you. I missed you, and thank God we're not speaking at the same time this time. So I'm definitely coming in. And you're speaking Thursday, October the 1st from 2:30 to 4. And the reason why I'm so excited to see Vanessa talk is because, one, I've heard so much about what you do and that your mission is really important. So it's a mission to eradicate the smallness from the small business and stop the financial and emotional roller coaster we all face as small businesses. So welcome.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. And I'm so excited about coming to Vancouver as well.
Yes. Yeah. Is it going to be your first time?
It's my first time in Vancouver and only my second time in Canada.
Oh, that's right.
So yes, it feels like a big deal. This is exciting stuff.
That's right. Well, you'll feel right at home because, you know, there's a lot of tea and, you know, it's very British, right?
Exactly.
So we still have the Queen all over our money. So
and you say process and not process.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. So tell us about your business. Who do you help specifically and how do you help them?
Yeah. So small business owners are my target audience. You know, the ideal people that I love to work with. They're typically service-based, ambitious about wanting to grow a successful business, and ambitious in that they want to make a big difference in the world as well. So, you know, a lot of my clients might be, you know, coaches, trainers, consultants, speakers, authors. They've often got a level of expertise, a professional expertise that they need to translate and get out into the world in a bigger way.
Yeah.
And, you know, we help them, yes, of course, through business strategy and, you know, some of those things about, you know, what does it take to grow a business? What are the skills that we need to build? Because a lot of us, we're passionate about what we do, but we don't necessarily have the skill set of building a business. But I also help them really with their mindset and particularly around money and success in helping them to, you know, break through some of their own limiting patterns that run a lot deeper than they realize so that they can actually achieve those particularly new income levels. Because there's a lot of interesting things that happen when we start to shift income levels.
Yeah, I mean, the name of your talk is about making 250 or more, because why are some people stuck at that level, right?
Yeah. And the truth is that, you know, that we're already looking at a very, very small percentage of people that even take their business over that $250,000 mark.
Oh my God.
And again, I think it's really good. It's sort of humbling to know the statistics. I was in a business mastermind last week, and there was a new statistic that was given to me, which is only 4% of businesses in North America go over $1 million.
Wow.
Only 4%. Now, obviously, in that 4%, there's a huge range, right, between, you know, the huge corporations and still small business. But so when you start to get up into, you know, six-figure revenue through your business, $250,000, $500,000, you know, you've got to play a different game, and it can't be business as usual, and it's not going to be the same old mindset that you had previously that's going to help you to get to that next level.
Something's got to change drastically.
Something's got to change, and typically quite drastically.
Yeah. So, gosh, you know what? Vanessa, it doesn't sound like you've ever failed. You sound like such a smart cookie. Talk to us about one of your biggest failures in business that you learned from.
Yeah, and let's preface this with there's always learnings, right? And they still always go on to this day. Everybody always says that, oh, you've got it worked out now. No, it's a continual journey. And I think, business, the nature of it is that there's going to be some good things and there's going to be some not so good things. But to share one of my sort of deep, dark mistakes, but, really major failure, it really could have been a major failure, was probably, I'm just trying to think how many years ago it was now. I have to do a quick bit of math. It's probably about 6 years ago, 5 to 6 years ago. I had landed a major contract very early on in my career, and I became a six-figure sensation overnight. So in fact, when we hear about these figures of like six-figure success and six-figure business, honestly, I didn't really understand what the big deal was. It was like, why is that so difficult?
It's a breeze.
It's such a breeze. I landed this great big contract. I then had a group of coaches that were working for me. We were working with a major organization in Europe. And I just thought, well, what's the big deal around business being so difficult? I mean, I really did believe naively then, like use your passion, show your passion, and the money will follow. Because I was showing up passionately, and the money did seem to be following for a while.
Wow.
And the big mistake that I made was that I was just naive. I really was. It really wasn't arrogance, and it certainly wasn't complacency. It really was a level of innocence of being early on in business that I didn't realize what it took to grow a business. And so when several years later I lost that contract, there were some big internal changes. I lost the deal, like these things happen. I lost over probably 85% of my income overnight. It was major. It wasn't like just losing, a couple of grand a month. It was major. And I honestly didn't know how I was going to replace that income. Because, again, I'd been naively going about this sort of saying, well, this is easy. I was loving what I was doing. We were building an internal coaching program. I loved the client. I loved everything that we were doing. As I said, a team of people working for me. I didn't need to look elsewhere at the time. And I really committed business suicide by putting all of my eggs in one basket, right? So that when I lost it, I didn't know the first thing about how to replicate it. And the truth is, I actually didn't believe I could. I really didn't. I was just like, there's no way. I got lucky. This was a fluke. As a woman as well, I don't know if you've ever suffered with this, but I was certainly suffering with, imposter syndrome and, the fraud police are going to, find me out and, come and like take me away in chains and lock me up. And I really didn't think I could, as I say, could replicate that success. And then what I also discovered at that time was very soon after my accountant called me in for a meeting and basically told me that I was very close to bankruptcy. And I'm like, oh, like, what does this mean? Like, really, like, what does this mean? And, I had been earning this money, but it was flying in, it was flying out. I hadn't put any money away. I wasn't thinking about cash flow. I didn't have a backup plan. All of a sudden I'm here with bills to pay and, probably down to, close to $2,000. The truth is I can't even tell you what the number was because my head was so in the sand about the numbers. I wasn't looking.
Right.
But it was, as I say, somebody else on the outside that had to say, you've got to really pay attention here. And so it was like, how did that happen? How can it be that I looked so successful on the outside, had landed this big deal, and here I was staring at bankruptcy. And, it was, as I said, it was one of those moments. I do remember actually saying to my husband, if I don't get out of bed this morning, nobody's going to notice, nobody's going to care. Like, I really just want to stay under the covers because I feel very ashamed of what's happened. And I really don't know what I need to do to sort of turn this around. It felt like it was a mountain,
Wow. How did you turn it around?
Well, I mean, I think, honestly, the sort of process of that was an awful lot of Post-its initially. I mean, I literally sort of went back to the drawing board. I remember in my kitchen, I took a whole bunch of Post-its, and they weren't even Sharpie pens, but, whatever you call them. I can't remember what we called those back in Europe. And it was like, what do I love to do? Who do I love, who do I love to work with? What do I love helping them with? And I just intuitively went with these sort of basic steps. And what I really, really discovered in that process, and I got very clear about, was I needed to learn how to sell. Because that was a whole conversation I hadn't been having. I didn't have a clue about sales. You know, had you asked me back then what was the difference between marketing and sales, I would have just thought it was the same thing. And like I say, I was just very naive. And so what I actually did is I invested in a sales coach. I actually invested a chunk of money in somebody that was a top salesperson. The company was actually called Sandler Training, which is very big in the States. And he'd just opened up a company in Switzerland. And I was like, listen, I've got to, you know, I need to learn how to sell. And so I worked with him. You know, for me, learning those skills, I also at the same time started to work on my own relationship with money. Because there was the sales side of things, but then there's that whole money and discovering that I had a very dysfunctional relationship with money, that deep down inside, I didn't believe I was ever going to, I didn't believe I deserved it. I didn't believe I was ever going to be that successful. So what was I doing? I was just like sabotaging, you know, my way to, you know, to the six figures.
How long did it take for you to come back to the level you were at?
Well, this was the interesting thing, right? Because I said to you at the beginning, I really didn't think I could replicate it. And in the year that I nearly went bankrupt, I came back to six figures in the same year.
So, wow, how many months would you say?
It was probably about 7 months, because I think all of this was happening around May. And by the end of the year, I could look back and, you know, the numbers were good. There'd been a big turnaround. But I'd also had to learn then, like, the fundamentals of what it took to grow a business.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what advice do you have for us?
Gosh, generally.
Yeah. I mean, just, you know, if you wanted to leave sort of like last word advice to the people who are watching this.
I think, you know, the piece for me, if I could fast track anybody, I would actually tell them to, like, look at the money. That would be the piece, because the way you do money is the way you do anything. And it's so revealing. And, you know, had somebody had a conversation with me about what I was avoiding looking at around money, it would, you know, I could have saved myself a lot of heartache. And that does mean sort of, you know, really understanding your own relationship with money. You know, is it one of avoidance and head in the sand? Or is it one that's overly penny pinching and you're, you know, scared for every single penny that you're going to lose? And understanding what some of your stories are that you've inherited, you know, from family and people before, because that was the piece that was all playing out for me, but at a very unconscious level. And what it meant that I wasn't taking responsibility for it in my business. I was telling myself I was no good at it. I was telling myself it was boring. The truth is, you know, I was scared. And it's a little bit like the monster under the bed. When we're a child, we think there's this big scary monster under the bed. But when we actually look there and we see that there isn't, and it's often the same as the numbers in the business, you know, they give us a real grounding and they give us direction as to, what do we need to focus on? And stop kidding ourselves, you know, that perhaps it's something over here when in fact we probably know what we really need to do.
Right. So your advice is really get squared with really the money story and what else could be hiding under the bed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Excellent. So where do we reach you before and after the conference?
Absolutely. So if people want to go to vanessashaw.com, there's actually a brand new report that, you know, is pretty hot off the press there, which is the 5 money myths sabotaging your business success. And I would really recommend going there, downloading it. It's a great read. It's actually 20 pages. This is not a quick one-pager. And then on, you know, Facebook, social media, I'm on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect. Just send a little message. Hey, you know, going to meet you in Vancouver, and I'll promise to reply to those messages personally.
Wonderful. I look so forward to seeing you there.
Me too. I can't wait.
Take care. Thanks again.
Bye-bye now.